For weeks, possibly months, you've been getting more YouTube views and more subscribers. Your graphs are going up and to the right. You think you've worked everything out. Then all of a sudden, everything comes to a halt. And worse still, you're making more videos and you're getting less views on average every day. What is all that about?
vidIQ.
vidIQ.
vidIQ.com.
Hello folks, I'm Rob and welcome back to vidIQ. Today I wanted to have a little bit of an intimate discussion with you all about channel growth mindset. The first thing I want to ask you is if you've been creating content as you usually would do in the first half of 2020, how has your channel been performing? Let us know in the comments below. I'm going to assume that for the majority of you, your channel has experienced some significant growth because everybody's been stuck indoors and they've all been watching Netflix or YouTube because there's nothing else to do. But now we're moving into a phase where the globe is starting to reopen. And of course, there is a little bit of viewer fatigue. People can't watch Netflix and YouTube all of the time. Well, not everyone can. And so for a lot of creators, you may be starting to see a slight decrease in your view counts. Now, let me quickly tell you how that's impacted the vidIQ channel. We were averaging around about 40,000 views per day coming into March of 2020. Then as the lockdown came into effect and a lot of people were coming onto YouTube and a lot of people were starting their YouTube channels, we saw a massive upsurge in our view counts going as high as 100,000 views a day, which is fantastic for the channel, but of course we want everybody to get back to their normal lives. And in the past 3 or 4 weeks, as the lockdowns have been loosened in countries, we're noticing that our view counts are starting to drop a little bit by 20-25%. So this is something obvious, really transparent, and can be explained on many channels on YouTube right now. But it doesn't always happen like that, does it? There are some channels that all of a sudden find their view counts going down for unexplained reasons. So I wanted to delve into this conversation a little bit and tell you why I think sometimes your channel, as well as it might be doing and as hard as you might be working on your channel, could suffer from a downturn in views. Now, if you're not interested in the detail, this is the too long didn't watch summary. If you're doing all of the right things and you're continuing to improve your content and your storytelling, YouTube will eventually reward you. Don't worry about the short-term hits that may be affecting your channel. Unfortunately, not all channels can be popular all of the time, and in many respects, this reflects life. It's the changing of a season, so to speak. I mean, let's take a really simple example, an NFL American football YouTube channel. How does it keep its audience engaged between February and August when there's not much happening in the world of NFL? You can apply this to all sorts of YouTube channels. Cooking, for example, they're really going to ramp up during the holiday season when you've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. The tech industry is the same as well. All sorts of products being released. Everybody's wanting to buy gifts. Come the new year, however, everybody's spent their money. Everybody is full and bloated. They don't want to buy anything now or cook anything, but they may want to lose weight or begin a New Year's resolution. So we get educational channels taking more of a command during the new year. So this is where perhaps you as a creator need to think smarter rather than work harder. That might be an opportunity for you to invest in some new equipment or learn how to use a new editing software or practice presenting in front of camera. So you're doing things behind the scenes to improve so that when that audience picks up in interest again, you're ready to give them even better content. Another thing that can have a huge impact on your channel that you don't necessarily control, unfortunately, are policy changes from YouTube. The most recent one of these, of course, was the FTC and COPPA. As a result, YouTube were fined hundreds of millions of dollars and told to sort this mess out. And when they sorted this mess out, it passed on a lot of implications for creators. If you make a video that is for a target audience of under the age of 13, you have to declare it. And when you do, that means people can't comment on that video. Notifications don't go out to your subscribers for those videos, and you earn a lot less revenue because you can't use targeted ads on those videos. We've also had the adpocalypse that was connected to Logan Paul from a couple of years ago. And in general, YouTube is always tweaking their policies, especially community guidelines, which, whether you realize this or not, will have an impact on how your videos are shared on YouTube and how the algorithm treats your content. So that is to say that you could have been making content in 2016 that was super popular with an audience, but things have changed in the YouTube landscape in 2020, which means that exact same content might not be shared as much as it used to be from YouTube. So from your perspective, you need to be educated on YouTube's policies and guidelines. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube blog and just check in with any guidelines that YouTube is sharing with you on a regular basis. Twitter is a good place to go. Team YouTube are always letting you know as creators what's changing in the YouTube landscape. Speaking of that algorithm, or the many algorithms that YouTube uses for helping viewers find the content that they want to find and watch, that is evolving all of the time as well. When it comes to these changes, try to remember this. YouTube is not out to get you, the individual creator. It is trying to create an environment where people stay on YouTube for longer and they bring more of the content that viewers want to watch to their screens. There is no doubt that algorithm changes on YouTube will have a detrimental impact on some channels, but those same algorithm changes will have positive implications for many more YouTube channels. Take this as an example. YouTube changes the algorithm and it negatively affects 5% of the creator community. Chances are, on social media, you will hear a lot from that 5% shouting that all of a sudden their views have gone down and they're blaming the algorithm. And that's fair enough. But at the same time, let's say that algorithm change positively impacts 30% of the creator community. Do you think that 30% of the community is going to praise YouTube about the algorithm change? Do you think they're even going to hold the algorithm responsible for the growth in their channel? Or they're going to assume that their content is just getting better and more people are watching it? I'll let you decide on that one. Have you ever heard of the phrase doing something over and over again and expecting something different to happen? Well, this is kind of the same logic. You're doing the same thing over and over again and being successful. However, everything around you is changing and you're left behind. We've observed this countless times when we've been auditing channels on our Tuesday channel audit live streams, which of course you can all get involved in. We see a channel that was really successful 5 or 10 years ago, getting tens of thousands of views, but they took a long break from the platform. And when they return, they're doing the same thing with their content and their thumbnails, but unfortunately now they're getting hundreds of views. And that's because the entire landscape around them, the whole of YouTube, has changed while they try and do the same thing years after it was successful. Let's just imagine your channel is happily going along, getting lots of views, doing really nicely, but then the topic is getting more competitive in your landscape. Creators are trying new and different things, and all of a sudden you're going to find yourself overtaken by everyone else. So this is a warning to all of us. Don't get too comfortable. Always be learning, always be innovating, testing new things. That's why I'm trying out this video right now. It might not work, it might do worse, but at the same time, I might connect with an entirely new audience and find that we have a new line of videos that we can put on the channel. You just never know if you don't keep testing. This next one is one that I've got really used to over a long period of time on YouTube, and that is to consider the resting heartbeat or the natural cadence of your channel. For example, let's say your channel is motoring along at 1,000 views a day, and then you create some content that does really well with your audience. You get a spike, you're up to 6,000-7,000 views a day for a few weeks, but then it starts to taper off and you go down to 2,000 or 3,000 views a day, and you feel really disappointed because you were able to keep that momentum. Then a few months down the line, all of a sudden you get some more traction on your channel. You're up to 10,000-15,000 views a day, but again, that momentum tapers off and you're down to 6,000 or 7,000 views a day. What you haven't realized there is that your resting heartbeat, your natural cadence, the average number of views you get on your channel when you're not having success or failure continues to go up and to the right. Of course, there are always going to be outliers that positively impact your channel or negatively impact your channel, but you want to be taking a audit of your channel every 3 to 6 months. How was I doing then versus now? As well as YouTube introducing policy changes that may have an impact on your channel, they're also playing a lot with the user interface on desktop and mobile. For example, a few months ago, there was a subtle change to the way that YouTube displayed thumbnails on browser and home pages, whereby they used to be smaller thumbnails, but they increased the size of them significantly. And without even realizing, that can have a huge impact on your click-through rate if you're not paying that much attention to thumbnails. Now again, there could be changes to playlists or notification or channel layout that if YouTube changes these things and you're not aware of them or you don't adapt, that again could positively impact some channels who are taking these things on board, but not you because you're ignoring them and just doing the same old thing and expecting these same good results. So yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is up-to-date YouTube education for you as a creator is always important. We've already talked about seasonal changes and how they can impact a channel over the course of a year. But what if those seasonal changes are permanent? For example, Game of Thrones, a cultural phenomenon on television over the last decade, and there are many channels on YouTube who have created reaction type of content and exploring the lore and the characters and the cast. But Game of Thrones has finished now. General audience interest in the series is probably beginning to wane. There are always going to be hardcore fans, but the general public is probably moving on to something else now. So if you continue to create Game of Thrones content, specifically for the television series, because of course the books haven't been finished yet, but if you're still looking at the television series now, do you think you're going to continue to sustain your channel? Probably not. This is a problem that many gaming channels suffer as well when they get really popular with a certain type of game, but they're not sure where to go next. What do they do? That's where you as a creator have to prepare for those changes. You have to tap into an audience's enjoyment of Game of Thrones and try to determine what they as an audience are going to like next that you can cover on your channel. Don't be afraid to always be thinking about what you can test next, whether that be the next game that you want to cover or the next television series. Generally speaking, I would license you to experiment with 20% of your content. 2 billion people watch YouTube on average every single month. So there's still another 6 billion people YouTube want to tap into with their platform. So they're not standing still. They're going to continue to evolve their platform. And that means they will test many different things and they will tweak their algorithm. And we've been hearing more and more about something that seems almost impossible to quantify, but it's quality watch time. This isn't necessarily a metric that's available in YouTube's studio, but ultimately, as a platform, what YouTube wants to do is get you onto the platform first of all, and then serve up the type of content that you as a viewer want to watch and continue watching that content. Not necessarily longer videos, although that can help, but for a viewer to watch a video that they enjoy and they see something that is suggested that they'll go on to watch next. And if a viewer is satisfied with what they're watching every time they come onto YouTube, they'll continue to use the service. We have to accept that as video creators, each one of us represents a tiny water droplet in the ocean of this video watching platform. And when YouTube drops something into that ocean, it creates a huge ripple effect. And it's up to us to ride those waves in a positive fashion. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this conversation, and a couple of hours after this video goes live, I will be going through the comments and replying to as many messages as I can. So make sure to add your voice to this discussion. Enjoy the rest of your video making day.